Hi, welcome back. I'm Helen.
I'm James.
And we are global nomads. And in 2024, we sold everything we owned to travel the world full time.
This is the sixth and final episode of our tour of the beautiful island of Sri Lanka. In this episode, we focus on one of the more popular reasons to visit Yala, but not the only one, to go on safari.
One of the big reasons for taking this trip to Yala is because I have a keen interest in photography. We'll show you a couple of the shots here just to get you interested, but stay tuned and we're going to show you a bigger library of the images I was able to capture later on in the video. Good morning from the Hilton Yala. This morning we're off on a safari into Yala National Park. It's a very wet morning and it looks like it might rain all day, so I'm not sure what we're going to see, but fingers crossed. So we're here at the entrance, just us and about 200 other jeeps. We'll hopefully be going in shortly. We're all lined up ready to go. We already bought our tickets online, so we are a little bit ahead of the queue. Apparently that's a top tip. Buy your tickets online and then you don't have to queue at the entrance gate. So we will be sure to show you around as soon as we get let in.
This is our first safari on day one, and we are in Block 1 in Palatupana. The park opens at 6 a.m, but a Sri Lankan 6 a.m. might be 6:15, 6:20. It might be a little bit later. The main reason to come to Yala is to visit Yala National Park. It's a huge park at 377 square miles, and your chances of seeing some animals are pretty good. If you're ever interested in doing an African safari but were concerned about cost, Sri Lanka and Yala are a much more affordable option. The thing that was most surprising to us is the amount of animals we saw as soon as we entered the park. Although the main animals to see are the elephants, leopards and sloth bears, or the big three, there are so many other animals to see. For the birds, we saw the bee-eater, eagles, hawks, hornbills, peacocks, cattle egrets, painted stork, blue heron, Asian openbills, jungle fowl, which is the national bird of Sri Lanka, ibis, parrots, kingfisher and barmany kites. Of the animals that we saw deer, mongoose, jackal, monitor lizard, crocodile, water buffalo, wild boar, samba deer, grey langus monkeys. We did see leopards and elephants, but unfortunately, despite there being sightings, no sloth bears.
Within the park, there are set trails that the guides are going to take in their jeeps. Now, I was expecting tracks, I was expecting it to be off-road, but it was incredibly bumpy, incredibly rough. Like you are bounced out of your seat rough. It's not a huge deal, but just be aware. I'm going to sound like a Disney ride, but if you have got like neck or back injuries, be aware because you are going to get thrown around. It's rough. I think part of it was a bit more rough because it had rained a lot, so maybe some of the sand had washed away, and we did see them later on grading some of the roads too. As James mentioned, the park opens at 6 a.m, roughly-ish, Sri Lankan 6 a.m. And then between 12 and 2, the park closes. You stay in the park, but all of the jeeps will then go to a pavilion, which is like a meeting area where there's a small cafe between 12 and 2. This is to give the animals a break, basically, a rest and a chance to go and drink without having a whole load of jeeps around them. At 2 p.m, the park then reopens and you'll restart your safari and closes at 6 p.m. Now, whilst there are a lot of jeeps, the only time we really found this to be an issue was when there was a leopard sighting. As soon as word gets out, all the guides will talk to each other as soon as word gets out that there's a leopard, everybody's like, okay, we're going to rush to get to this spot to see the leopard. This was the only time we really saw a lot of congestion. I think we had a good guide and a good driver, but most of the time we didn't see other jeeps. And I say most of the time, or if we did see them, it was maybe 2 or 3. It wasn't you and 200 of your closest friends, aside from, as I said, that when we saw the leopard.
We took a total of 4 safaris over the 20 days that we were in Yala. 3 of these were full days and 1 of them was a half day. Yala is split into 5 blocks. Block 1 is the most popular and the nearest to the resorts at about a 30-minute drive. We only visited 2 of the blocks on this trip, Block 1, Palatupana, and Block 5, Galge. The other blocks were either flooded or preserved. We did have a lot of rain on this tour and we were here in January, which should have been the driest month. It was not. In general, as Helen said, you will be generally on your own when you're driving through this nearly 400 square miles of tracks with only 200 jeeps. However, when there is an animal sighting, everyone gathers together. Everyone's generally very respectful of the animals, and if they need to back away, they will do. You do get some guides that will be a little bit more
aggressive. There was definite, like, I'm getting my people in and I'm going to push in front of you in the jeeps. With each other, there was definite aggression, but nothing untoward, but they were definitely, out to look after their people that were in their jeep.
We did have one situation where there was a bull elephant, and we never actually saw it because we were going down towards the bull elephant, and as we were approaching it, everyone started to reverse because it was a well-known elephant that everyone just keeps away from.
It did have a history of approaching vehicles, and I would say attacking maybe isn't the right word, but it had approached vehicles, and basically everyone was told to keep clear of it.
But even though we all backed up, because obviously it's a single lane, there's no way to get out. If the elephant's in front of you, the only place to go is backwards. Then there were some people that would just cut through and they were still going to take people to the elephant.
Yeah, I mean, I was grateful that our guide knew better and said, you know what, it's not worth it.
Safety first.
Safety first. We'll go and there's plenty of elephants. You don't need to go and pursue the one that gets a little bit unhappy with the jeeps being there. In the main, the elephants and all the animals were generally not bothered at all by the jeeps. I think they're used to them being there, and if they want to get away from you, they can do. And in the main, because you're staying on the tracks, you're not going right up to the animals anyway, because the jeeps do stay on the tracks. They're not just off-roading anywhere. So generally, you are not going to be harassing the animals. And as I said, they typically, I didn't really see any animal that seemed particularly bothered, and I was very conscious of that, that seemed particularly bothered that we were there. we were picked up at 5:30. It's now 10 a.m. We just did a quick stop for breakfast. So I did read online that some people said there wasn't anywhere to stop and there were no toilets in the park. Well, we're here in this kind of purpose-built pavilion. We'll show you in a sec that there is a little coffee shop as well. You can get tea and coffee, and they've also got a fridge with cold drinks in, and there is a toilet here. I haven't used it. I am going to.
I have.
Yeah, not sure I want to, but needs must. And we'll show you around this absolutely stunning view as well. This newly constructed rest area was built after the tsunami of 2004. At that time, sadly, the tsunami did hit this area, and unfortunately around 250 people that were in this area at the time lost their lives. The newly constructed area is built on stilts and is raised, and consists of a small cafeteria, a toilet block, and some seating. It's a nice area to stop, despite the sad story to the area.
In front of the rest area is the beach, and it is a very picturesque and stunning area. Although you can't wander wherever you want to go, but you can go down to the ocean and put your feet in. We booked a private jeep tour independently of the hotel, and our guide asked us to purchase the tickets the night before online. You purchase a ticket for you, your guides, and the vehicle. For us, this came to a total of approximately $75. If you're in a shared jeep tour, the guide will purchase the ticket on the day when they know how many people are in the jeep. The ticket office opens at 4 a.m. If you have the budget, a private jeep is definitely the way to go. It gives you the freedom to take photos from both sides, as well as stopping when and where you want to. There are plenty of options to stop and wait if you want to see a particular animal. The cost of this tour was $100 for a full day tour and $75 for a half day tour. The entrance ticket price is the same regardless of whether you do a full day or a half day. If you have pre-purchased tickets, you enter on the right hand side. If you purchase on the day, you go on the left hand side. This is a top tip. The right hand side is a lot smaller line, and as a result you get longer in bed, which is good for me. And you don't have to line up an hour before. The park is limited to 200 jeeps, and especially at weekends it can sell out as locals come down in their own cars. From our resort at the Hilton Yala, it's about 30 minutes to get to the entrance. We also visit Block 5, and this is a 2-hour drive to give you some idea of the distance and how large this park is.
Good morning from Yala, day 2. Oh, and we're just about to go in. Hopefully we're going to see a leopard today. So day 2 of our safari, we saw a leopard. Yes, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Our driver got word on his cell phone from one of the other Jeep drivers that there was a leopard sighting and where it was, and that's it. Whew, all bets are off. It turns into Fast and Furious at that point. Whichever guide you're with or whichever park you're in, they're going. By the time we reached the area, there was a lot of Jeeps. I mean, a lot of Jeeps. And as I said, this is the only time we really saw a lot of Jeeps. By the time we did reach the area, there were rangers there though, and they were guiding the Jeeps and making sure that you didn't stop. Basically, they were there moving traffic along. You could basically do a drive-by of the tree that the leopard was sitting in so that everybody got to see it. Because we were doing so many safaris, we'd booked 3.5 days of safaris. We had the luxury of time though. So our driver suggested that we go to a different area and sit and wait and let everybody leave the area where the leopard was. So we went and sat for about 40 minutes, I guess, in a quieter area and then came back. By that time, I think there was maybe only about 15 Jeeps left there. Maybe not even that many.
When we actually, at the end, there was 4.
So by sitting and waiting, we were able to go and actually take our time and not just do a drive-by, and be able to take photos of the leopard in the tree. We then got word the leopard was on the move. We saw him actually climb out of the tree and walk down into the track in front of us. And basically, he then sat there and right in front of us in the middle of the track. And I guess this is what I mean about they're not bothered that you're there. At that point, there was only about 4 Jeeps there. And obviously, word then got out and more Jeeps did come, but it still didn't get as crowded as the initial sighting. But he came and sat down and sat in front of our Jeep for probably 5 or 6 minutes and then just wandered across the road the other side. Absolutely incredible. We were maybe about 30 feet, I guess, from him.
Probably closer than that.
Maybe closer than that. Like I said, he wasn't bothered. The Jeeps were sure to, they pulled up and stopped short. They gave him room to cross the road, and so that he wasn't harassed and couldn't get through. Absolutely incredible. One of the most incredible things I've seen.
This leopard is 9 years old and is called Lucas, and is well known to be in that area, and he came down off the tree because he was hungry.
So we just finished our lunch break. The park closes between 12 and 2, and now we're just getting ready to line up and leave again to go on another 4 hours this afternoon. He's just lining the Jeep up a little bit for me because I've got this boot on, and we can line it up against the steps so I can step in and out, otherwise I can't get in and out. But I will just quickly flip the camera around and you can see what a nice place this is for lunch too.
For those who saw our previous videos, you'll know that Helen fell in Candy and fractured her ankle in 3 places, so she's currently wearing the boot. As we were getting ready to go, a monitor lizard decided to join us for a lunch, and as with most animals in the park, our presence didn't faze him or her one bit.
And this guy's just walking through the lunch area.
So block 1, Sunday morning, 6:10. Sorry? 2nd of Feb. And that's how many Jeeps there are.
Because we were there for 20 days, we had the luxury of trying to plan our safaris around when the weather was a bit nicer. And so we kept looking for breaks in the weather. And the first day the weather was supposed to be nice. It rained practically the whole day. The second day we got luckier when we saw Lucas the leopard, and the weather was much kinder to us. If you've seen our previous videos, you know that I have an interest in photography, and I carry with me and use a Nikon ZII version 2. And the 2 lenses that I travel with are a 28 to 400 mm lens, which is my go-to kind of travel lens, and I also have a wide angle which is 12 to 30 from memory. And I thought I'd share with you a few of the photographs that I took during our safari in Yala. Good morning. It's 4:30 in the morning and we are headed off on a safari today. This is actually going to be our third safari while we've been here, and today we are going to Block 5, which we haven't been to before, which meant a super early start. It's usually an early start, but this is a really early start, so I'll take you along and hopefully we get to see a leopard.
Well, here we are in Block 5,
Yeah.
Galge, and it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and we've seen some stuff already.
And we're on leopard watch.
And maybe Sloth Bears, maybe not.
So we kept an eye on the weather, and then at the very end of our stay there was 2 days that looked good again. So again we planned the 2 other safaris, so we did another whole day to Block 5 and then another half day back to Block 1, and again got lucky with the weather, fortunately.
So we did 1 day's full safari in Block 5. It's a lot longer drive, so you start a lot earlier. It's a good 90 minutes to 2 hours drive from the Hilton Yala to get to Block 5, and it therefore costs a little bit more. I think our ticket was about $125 for the guide, plus they still paid the $75, but you pay directly to the guide and they book the ticket. So to give you an idea of size, Block 1 is 378 square miles. Block 5 is 25 square miles, so it's a lot smaller. Block 1 has a limit of 200 jeeps. I don't think Block 5 has a limit. I think we saw 20 jeeps for the whole day.
Yeah.
So it's a lot smaller area. You can explore it and see all the animals, but it is smaller. There are far fewer jeeps. You don't have to make a reservation like you would at Block 1. And the rules are a lot looser, so you don't have this thing where you've got to be off the road between 12 and 2. And there's also less facilities. There's no cafe and a toilet. We'll drop a bit of video in about the toilet, but it's interesting. But there's not really anywhere to eat other than by the reservoir, by the dam.
Mm-hmm.
There is an area by the dam where you can get something to eat, but it's not really designed for that. It's designed for you to just go in the park, spend the whole day there. It's a very long day, and then go back to your hotel. This is Galle Dam. It's quite famous in Sri Lanka. It even appears on the back of the currency. It was built between 2007 and 2009, and it's vital to Sri Lanka's water supply. It's got a capacity of 75 million cubic feet.
The amount of animals here was less for sure. We didn't see any elephants in the park, but we did see some on the road. Lots more birds here though. There was a lot more wildlife, and I guess that's because there's a huge lake here. We saw a lot of birds of prey, a lot of wading birds, peacocks, and of course another leopard. So right at the end of the day, just when we'd almost given up hope of seeing another leopard, we got word that there had been one seen. We'd been looking for it all day. We'd been told there had been one in the area, but we'd given up hope at this point that we were going to get to see it. And literally just before we left, we got word there'd been a sighting. So we headed there. Like James said, not that many other jeeps here, and there was a large grouping of deer. And the way that they know that there's a leopard in the area is the deer will make an alert sound to each other to alert the other deer in their herd that there is a leopard or a predator around. Our guide told us that they believe this particular leopard was much younger, maybe only around 18 months to 2 years old. So you maybe can't tell from the video, but he was actually much smaller than Lucas, who we'd seen the day before. Again, he was pretty unbothered by us being there and hung out, had a lay down, then again got up and walked right in front of us again. Just incredible to see.
So the reason that we were hanging around in this particular area is that a deer was brought down the day before by a leopard, and this is its carcass. So this is the remainder of what it wanted after it had its first meal, and they were expecting the leopard to go back and perhaps have another meal later in the day.
Just across from the entrance of the park is where the only toilet block is, which we showed you. There was also an absolute ton of monkeys here. We pulled up here to use the facilities, and we were surrounded, it's fair to say. 2 or 3 different varieties of monkeys. There's the langur monkeys and the regular macaques. A lot of them had babies too. And unfortunately we missed it, but at one point a couple of them jumped up on the hood of the Jeep and were kind of banging their little fists on the Jeep. It was quite funny. But an absolute ton of monkeys in this area.
As we left the park, we met a few elephants on the road. Although they're harmless, they do have learnt to collect tolls from the drivers as they go past, and we saw quite a few people feeding them. These elephants actually pulled boxes out the back of a truck that they thought had food in, and actually had plastic plates in. So we got pretty close to them just because that's what you do, you drive past them, but our guide did advise us not to feed them because they don't want to encourage this type of behaviour.
Remember, these are wild elephants. You know, although they're here and you're seeing them as a tourist, they are wild. We slowed down to drive past one particular one, and literally he stuck his trunk. I felt his breath on my face as he stuck his trunk in the back of our Jeep.
There he is.
Sadly, our 20 days at Yala had come to an end, and it was time to head back to Colombo for our flight to leave Sri Lanka. We took a whole day to drive up here with our guide Saman, and there was a couple of places we wanted to stop at. The main one being Galle Fort. It was incredibly busy here just because of the time we got there, I think. But it was nice to be able to get out, take a quick look. Sadly, I couldn't walk around too much because of the boot, but it was still nice to take a look around. We did stop at a couple of beaches as well on the way before we made it to our hotel for the night in Colombo.
As we come to the end of this, we'd just like to put a shout out to our guide Saman. We met Saman as a photo guide back in 2018 when we originally came and went to Udawala.
Udawala, yes.
And we did a Helen, we've got to see 4 things in 3 days on a trip from Dubai to the Maldives. And we didn't get a lot of time, but we did keep in contact with Saman all the way through. And he stayed with us since Kandy on this tour and took us all the way back to Colombo. So thanks, Saman. We really appreciate it, and keep in touch.
And we'll leave his details here if you're looking for a guide as well. He is a photographer, so he can also teach you photography, but especially for the safaris, if you're interested in photography like I am, it's so helpful to have someone with you that can guide the drivers to be in the right spot, look for the right light, know what angle to be in, and obviously be able to speak the language. He speaks Sinhalese, which our driver did too, and his English is also excellent.
And he's got a good car.
And he's got a good, reliable car, which is a rarity in Sri Lanka if you've seen our previous videos. So thanks for watching. This is part 6 in our 6-part series of our month in Sri Lanka. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We had a great time. I'm sure we'll be heading back to Sri Lanka again. Join us next time as we will be heading to Doha, making our way through Dubai from Sri Lanka to Doha to join our cruise to head to Africa. So be sure to like and subscribe.